Hello, hello, hello. So today I didn't want to write today. I'm just gonna be honest. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to go live. I didn't want to do the things. But we are doing them anyways because that's just what we do. For a variety of reasons. Partially because if I stopped today, I might never start again. At least on the live streaming side of things. So I'm been pretty good about going every day, not every day, every week, and I want to keep that going. So, if you are watching this replay, you can just ignore the first like 45 seconds and skip. For those of you who've been following along and watched the last couple of videos, I still have a blog post to like actually post. I did write it last week, but I never got back to the editing, which is a problem. And then I have these really fun Instagram posts that I wrote a couple weeks back, and I've never posted those. So I'm also working on getting over myself. Um, so this has been a long, weird week. I'm excited that it's Friday. I'm excited to spend a little bit of time working on some of this writing, and I really want to see if I can use Jarvis a little bit actually for some emails. I hadn't quite decided how we were going to use him today, but I think that's where we're going to go. So I'm just spending a quick moment getting my desktop pulled together so that I have things clean and where I want them to go. If you happen to be watching on the replay, feel free to throw things in the comments, and I'll pop back and answer. So, get logged into Jarvis, pull up my things. I think we're going to go play in Legacy today. We've been focusing on some other areas previously, and we are in... Gosh, it's almost June. Oof. So, how'd that happen? I'm going to open up I like to have a Google Doc open while I'm working in Jarvis. I also have the Trello board open. And I think I'm actually going to keep the editorial board open and use that potentially. Yes. Okay. So, I always struggle with email. I'm just going to put it out there. So I know the concepts. I know all of the pieces of, how we're supposed to write it. I know the copywriting, and I've been writing, weekly emails, monthly emails. I've made sales for my emails. Like, I know what to do, and I know mostly how to do it, but sometimes it's just hard to do it. So if you are watching this and you're thinking, you don't know how to do it, you just really start writing. So one of the things I put in the title of the video is how to write when you don't want to, and how Jarvis can help you keep writing even when you don't want to. And I think for me, it's probably my favorite part of Conversion.ai and Jarvis is that even if I don't want to write, he still shows up and he's ready to go. So there's no, except maybe if he's having some technical difficulties and he has some downtime. But yeah, it's like, I really just didn't want to today. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get rolling. If you have questions, throw them in the comments, or you want to commiserate. That's always fun. So, and I'm going to, oh yeah, I was going to fix that. Never mind. Okay, so here we are. So I like to have a Google Doc open when I'm working with Jarvis for a variety of reasons, but you don't have to. It just helps me. So I have my Trello board open. I have Jarvis open. I don't need my whole Google Drive. I really just use the Google Doc as like a dumping ground of things. If I don't feel like they fit into my Trello board, then I'll throw them into Jarvis or into the Google Doc. So I'm going to work on a little bit of email. So the way I structure my emails is I like to do, sometimes I'll just do name and then roll right into a sentence. But usually the first part has a personal story or note of some kind. that is related to everything that's going on in the email. And then I usually will have things to read, listen to, or watch to give people a variety of options on content. I found that when we offer people an opportunity to read content, watch content, or listen to content, they engage with it more often, and it sort of hits all the pieces because different people, they don't like auditory things. They need to be able to watch and have auditory. Some people don't like either of those, and they want to be able to read. So I've actually gone through, and some of my podcast episodes are actually me reading a blog post, and most of the blogs come from content that I did or created in a podcast, and then usually my videos, if they're pre-recorded, came out of someone asking a question, or they actually came from writing that I did. So that's sort of how I sort of cross-create content. So when it comes to writing my emails, specifically for the legacy recorder, and this specifically has to do with the people who are on it's really on the master list, but people who opted into 5-minute storytelling. So 5-minute storytelling is... for context, there's scripts that I put together and resources I created to help people start storytelling conversations in hard moments and when you would potentially only have 5 minutes or less with someone. So really looking at how can we start storytelling moments when those things happen and what can that look like. And so the 5-minute storytelling scripts help you start those conversations easily. So the emails are supportive of everything in the legacy world and storytelling and those sorts of things. So I have a section that is things to read, listen to, or watch. I usually do a couple of bullet points. And generally I try to stay around because of the audience. I know that they are thinking about what's what I'm looking for, the calendar year. So what's happening. I also know that a lot of my audience is in Australia. So they're in a totally different season right now. So I'm thinking about summer and they're thinking about winter. So I think one of the first things about understanding like what to write in your emails is understanding who's reading the emails. And if you know what most of your audience is made up of, that'll help you decide what you should include or not include. And I think that's really where email can be awesome and email can be awful. So that's point number one, is know who you're writing to. And then the other section I usually will have is I'll usually feature a resource. So that's usually someone that or a company that I either have an affiliate relationship with, which I always disclose, or a resource that I found in the wild, or a tool. Often I'll share a tool. So I actually will probably in this email, tool I use this time is going to be Google Drive because I just did a video on that last week. And then, excuse me, I totally just burped in the microphone. Ha! And then what's the last part? Oh, so the other one is storytelling activity I love, or I'm loving. So this email is really like, if they don't follow the blog, if they don't follow Instagram, if they don't follow anything else I'm doing, if they're on the email list, they can get a really quick Reader's Digest version with a little bit of a note from me. So I think the storytelling activity I was going to include this time was elder memories or summer. I did outline this in Airtable. So my Airtable, I use it for a big overall doohickey editorial calendar, and I use it to, so look at that. Oh, I almost remember. Almost got it all. So, oh yeah, this was the personal thing I was going to include. And elder and end of school moments. So the thing is, so the reason I don't necessarily, and I am going to include the summer activity kit, but, which is almost, this is actually needs to be finished, and then I'm not doing that. So that's there. So the CTA is summer and winter activity kit, which is going to be funny. Now I'm thinking, so the other thing is segmenting. So people don't often segment their email list well. And it can be hard if you don't have enough information about your list. And it depends on which email provider you're using. But if you know what location the person's in, like if I were really being super awesome, if I were being super awesome on the segmenting, I would write 2 emails. I would write one that is for people who are not, like, who are in a hemisphere that doesn't have winter right now. So all the summer stuff would be like the US, and whatever hemisphere, like, I can't do the science right now. And so then my Australian audience would get the winter activity email. I'm not going to segment that hard. So, which I think I probably could. Someday I will. I'm going to look into that. So if you're doing emails, which I'm sure most people are, is just think about that part. Think about who you're writing to, what are they actually interested in, and, knowing that part will help you write better emails. So I'm going to put both of those in there, and then closing, which is usually the same, and then I have a PS, which the CTA is booking a call, like a paid call, booking paid consult call. It used to be a free workshop, but I'm not doing that anymore. So we're allowed to change things. That's the other thing we're allowed to do, is change it up. So sorry, I was reading WhatsApp messages. I got sidetracked. Nope, I don't want that. Don't do that. This is bothering me. Okay, so, la-di-da. If you happen to be watching live, feel free to post questions. We're looking at email, like writing an email using Jarvis. So I've outlined my email in a Google Doc because that helps me. I did think about using the power mode inside the long form assistant, but maybe we'll use it because I can see everything and I like that, which actually maybe that's a good idea. So we are going to go in there. So now that I've done my outline, I'm going to write an email to my list about elder memories and how you can help people start storytelling. So this is the very first time I've used the long form assistant like this to write an email. Usually I use it to do blog posts and longer content like that. So I just thought we would give this a run and see what happens. Start storytelling moments. Simple walkthrough with easy to read and consume read content. Easy to read content. Okay. No keywords because it's just an email. And we'll let him generate some ideas and see what happens. Maybe he'll throw us the other thing I struggle with is email headlines. Like, I always do the same thing. I'll try that one. Intro paragraph. So I have... Did it go up yet? I can't remember if we put it up yet or not. Nope, not yet. Okay. So we're going to be super awesome. And I don't want to do all of that. Where can I find... I know how to do this. Ooh-doo-doo. Will that work if it's there? Nope. No, I did not blow up the internet. You're silly. Nope, I don't want to do that either. All right, I'm going to be rude and go off screen. Haha. I think that's what we're going to do. Yes, that is what we're doing. Okay, so bear with me for just 2 shakes while I go find what I need. Okay, so this blog post is based on a weekly video series that is happening over on the Legacy Recorder YouTube channel, which is 52 Weeks of Storytelling. So this week was Favorite Elder Memory, and I happened to share a memory about my grandfather. And going to put this here, which I'm going to have Jarvis rewrite this, but I wanted to use what I had already, and I want to see what he thinks. So based on everything I've put in, I've their titles here, content description. Ooh, this is new. This wasn't there before. You guys changed the layout. Okay, sorry. Every time something new happens, I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, I just want to see what Jarvis says. So usually when I put the, yeah, that's not real. So sometimes Jarvis gives us a creative story, which is fun. Like, that would have been cool. If it's close to something that actually happened, I'll potentially use it. But what I really want to do with this is take that, go into power mode. And why I really wanted to get in here was to be able to see everything all at once. I hate having to click around. And we'll do funny and see what Jarvis says. So from our outline, we're going to go, name, do you have any memories? Let's see. Do you have favorite memory about a breakfast food? Yeah. That needs a little more editing. All right. Put the rest of the story in. Same thing. So I'm gonna do that. Do subject. And then I don't do the pre-subject. What is that called? It's not pre-subject, it's like preview or something. I don't usually do that. But in this case, it might be fun. About breakfast food. Oh, above memory of. Or parent always said, come over and stay with them. So I'm probably going to need to edit a bit more, but this is going to be my personal story. So there's my personal story. Now, I'm not really cheating, but I know that I already have most of this written. So I'm a huge believer in, like, taking a concept that you're excited about or a topic you're excited about, and like I talk about the same thing everywhere in different like perspectives and modalities. For me, that means that I get really good at talking about it. I also get really comfortable with it, and it means that I can teach it on the fly. So when someone says, "Hey Gail, can you like show up and show people how to use Google Drive or talk about this or do this," like I can just do it. So I know how I learn, which I think is it's a really important thing to know about yourself, to learn platforms faster. If you have a tool you're starting to use for the first time, can like taking content about that tool and writing about it, talking about it, shooting videos about it, like working through it and using it, it helps me think through all of the things, and forcing myself to teach it to someone means that I'll think more critically about what I'm doing, and I'll be more intentional about how I use something. It also means I learn the platform faster. So the more I have to teach something, the better I get at it faster, which I really super like. So the reason I bring that up is the Google Drive thing is that I decided last week that that's what I would start on. And I talked about Google Drive on two different platforms. And actually, really, it was technically three different platforms and three different brands in a different way for each one. I do the same thing when I talk about Zapier, when I talk about Conversion.ai, every time I talk about Jarvis, at least on these live streams. Like this week, we're doing legacy. Last week, I think I worked on the co-working space, which I own a co-working space. And then the week before, I was focusing on my consulting content and like personal brand content. And next week, I'll probably switch back to personal brand content, depending on the week. But right now, I'm thinking about emails because I need to get an email out for legacy. So this is going to go super fast because I already have a lot of this written, and I have been writing these emails for a long time, so I don't have to think too hard about where the content is. I just have to remember where the pieces are. So this is my personal story. I'll probably include some emojis or something. We're going to go back to our list, which is this. Put that there, and I want to format this for heading 2. This will be a bullet point list, so I'm probably thinking, where else would this be? I might want to do this. I might show where the winter activity blog post is. Activities for activities I can't spell. Activities winter and summer, winter options and summer options, activity kits. This is where I'm going to link that. So this is use. We're going to go read is probably send them to the elder memories and 52 weeks storytelling, which means sometimes when I do these, I try not to force myself to publish content before I'm ready. So I actually probably won't do that. So the read is probably going to be, let's go look, database. We did pirate memory, Apple memory, probably do the pirate one. It's super fun. So we'll copy that. Okay, so go back here. So read, we're gonna do how to share a favorite pirate memory. We used to be able to, maybe we can't. I thought at one point we could hyperlink. So I'll save that link. Oh, actually, I know what to do. I know what we're going to do with this. Like that. Okay, so read and then listen to. I'm probably going to go find a podcast episode on... What do I want? Probably do Elder again. So I kind of like keep the same content coming through. Excuse me. Editing and books. Oh, this one's a good one. Lawyers and storytelling. This one's a good one. So I'm going to choose this one because I happen to know that this episode is kind of a case study for how using the legacy recorder in a storytelling activity made a massive impact for 2 people. And it's specifically about story about how a lawyer found his storytelling. So this was a super powerful moment in a legacy project a couple years back. And then the watch, sure, favorite memory, story about, oh, this is easy. So I'm going to link the 52 weeks of storytelling video. That's what's going to happen because the storytelling video is finished. Favorite elder memory video from the, and I like to give, when I do these, I could just put the title of the video, but I think giving context of how, like, why they care, it helps with clicking. I was going to say clickage, but it helps with click-through rate. If you give someone not a ton of context, you can see this is super short, but the 52 weeks of, so if they have been following along and they like missed it or something, which I know people are watching the videos and using them, storytelling video series, then they can go catch up if they want to. How to share a favorite pirate memory, a fun activity, and a story prompt to use in your planning. Okay, so I kind of like to give that so they can make the decision if it's something that is relevant to them or not. I think giving people information to be able to make those choices is super helpful and helps them decide faster if they're interested in seeing it or not. So then I'm going to add the storytelling activity I'm loving. And I know that I'm not using Jarvis as much, but I've actually found that I enjoy composing in here. I love writing in Google Docs. I've always loved writing in Google Docs. So I'm actually going to try compose and see what Jarvis says. So what Jarvis says is he's going to read everything above here. So I'm kind of curious to see what he puts here. So for, yeah, no, that's not helpful. So obviously no. Okay, so, but I am going to use the blog intro paragraph. And I want to look here. Start. So I'm going to go back to power mode, go to the blog intro paragraph. So storytelling activity telling story.
Guess what? What?
So that's live streaming. Oh, what was I doing? Okay, telling stories about end of school and your favorite grandparent. Okay, so we're gonna stick with warm and see what Jarvis says, and then we're gonna wrap this video up because we're just about at the end. Nope. Okay, so I didn't really like what he came up with. So usually when I do this portion, I just do a little like 2-line intro, and then I actually just put in like the prompts, which when I say like the prompts, like you know what I'm talking about. So I think on this one, where would I have had the prompts? Do. Nope. This one was short. So when I talk about a storytelling activity I love, I grabbed this line, and then my headings, and I had a little bit of context, and then that was like the storytelling activity I love. So usually, like for the elder, I happen to know because I know my content that I have from a while ago. I have these questions already pulled together, so the storytelling activity would be those questions, except they formatted funny. So then I would just go through and format and pull out those hashtags because they don't need to be there. That was for Twitter way back when. And the prompts themselves are based on the legacy storytelling method, which is what I use to help people outline their stories and help others write stories. So if you are in the industry and you are someone who's recording video or you're helping families tell their stories, this is a resource you can use to help them start conversations together. I offer training and consulting if that's something you want to do better. So that's where that's what all of this is. So I usually do bullet points. And I like being snarky. So memo, I'm thinking about my grandparents. Woo! Grandparents this week. Below you will find the prompts for encouraging writing a story about an elder your life. And then I try to give direction, like if you are using these prompts in a care setting, please remember to adapt the language to whoever you are working with. And that just means that, like, you aren't necessarily going to talk to someone who is a senior or an elder and say, hey, do you have a senior or elder in your life that you admire? The first question is probably going to be more of like talking memory-wise about their grandparents, and then if they don't have memories of their grandparents, potentially talking about a friend or something that happened to them as an elder. So that's sort of where that adapting is. And when I was talking earlier about talking about the same thing across platforms, So this after, like in 24 minutes or 20 or like in 30 minutes, I'm going to go do another live stream that's going to go onto the Legacy Recorder live stream channel, so YouTube, Facebook, and then into a free Facebook group, literally about this concept in the perspective and from the perspective of working with someone in a care facility, or in a storytelling moment in an activity setting where you're working with someone else. So that's how I think about my content. I don't know if that's helpful for anyone, but look at me. I wrote my email. So I'm going to copy paste this and put it in my Google Doc. I'll add my other pieces. Everything's formatted. So when I copy paste this and put it in, where do I put it? When I put it into ActiveCampaign, it'll all be good. So that's that. We did that in 36 minutes. That's fabulous. So again, if you are watching the replay and you have questions, please feel free to throw them in the comments. I will roll through. If you have questions about Airtable, I will probably do a video on that at some point when I get excited. Or if someone asks a question, usually I'll make pre-recorded videos if someone asks a question, and I'll do looms and stuff. So, other things I want you to do. Go check out the Legacy Recorder. It's a free resource that you can poke around in. There's a search option. There's lots of videos. There's tons of pages. The database has like 100 pages of stuff. There's a YouTube video floating around on that of how to use it. I just recorded that a couple weeks ago. There's training, there's a book you can buy, there's printables, all sorts of things. So I would love it if you would go check that out. And if you're interested in working on telling your story, or you are sitting there staring at a blank page going, I want to write about myself, or I want to start a memoir or something like that, and you just don't know where to start, the 52 Weeks of Storytelling video series is a great way to start that journey. I know for a fact that there are a handful of people who are writing their memoirs using the prompts. So it's super amazing. The idea was that, or still is, like at the end of 52 weeks, you would have one page of your story written. And it's a great way to have that create the content, but also to create a writing habit. So if you're not one of those people that's like, I can write every day, or, just sitting down to write terrifies you, the Legacy Recorder can help. So with that, I hope you have an incredible, wonderful day. I will most likely be back next Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. If you'd like to get notifications and you're on YouTube, you can subscribe. And the Twitch people, feel free to subscribe there as well. The videos do live in perpetuity on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook apparently is dropping our crap like every 30 days. So that's new. Anyhow, all right. I know I've said goodbye like 4 times, but bye. I'll see you later.